Okay. I'm just going to start off my morning breakfast. I'm not sure what I did with the other half of my onion yesterday.
Everybody has something that you can
should be inside of a small container somewhere.
You know, to their dismay, their biggest asset, which is their three-point shooting, can also be their biggest deterrent when they're not making it, which allows teams to kind of either get back.
And when I can't find anything, I just don't worry about it. It's an onion. I'll come across it someday. Not a big deal. So, real quickly.
So I think that's what makes this playoff and the championship run so intriguing. It's not just one team, I think, outside the Clippers, from a talent perspective, that you can point to and say, they could just run the table.
I was saying earlier, Miami's been a shock in the playoffs to me. A bunch of young kids and Jimmy Butler, and I said, I don't remember a player that I've changed my opinion more than Jimmy Butler. A year ago, I was like, a little bit of a diva, doesn't get along with anybody. He's going to be a bounce around the league guy or something. And then all of a sudden now I'm like, Miami put their arms around him. He works his butt off on both ends. He appears to be coachable. And I'm like, I look at today and I'm like, Miami's a real basketball team. I mean, is their ceiling low? What do you make of Butler, his emergence?
All right, so I'm just going to cut up a bunch of onion, but always be aware of how much of something you're eating. How much does that weigh?
Players that they couldn't really give because structurally the organization just wasn't put together that way. Okay, then you go to Philadelphia where you have two budding superstars, but they're also young, and they weren't held accountable in regards to not being able to take it to the next level. Their play was not held to accountable.
Changing it to grams so I can get an idea. 42 grams, so that's over an ounce. All right. 42 grams, I can tell you, is probably going to be 20, 30 carbs. So be careful. That's kind of a lot, but not a super huge deal. So we're just going to cook that and throw that in.
And focused on winning. That's the perfect marriage that you see in Miami. That's why you see Jimmy Butler at times.
Got it started hot so I can cook the onions because they take the longest. Alright. Turn it down to 3. Something else that takes a long time to cook is peppers. So we're going to do the same thing. Open up the peppers.
This is the Eastern Conference. This is where he's the best player. Are you kind of surprised? It's been a little
just aim for 40 grams.
In this series for Giannis.
Do a yellow.
From this perspective, because
red.
One, the Heat, beat this team 2-1 during the regular season. One game in the ball.
30 grams. Actually, 30 grams is where I tend to actually try to aim. 1 ounce. Easy to measure, easy to kind of keep track of. Alright, so now, you can't see me, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I did that. So I just take a couple of strips.
He was going to be very effective, I think, in the game before he sprained his ankle and went out. But it's things that you can take away.
And we're going to add peppers.
That's different than, say, a healthy Kevin Durant. Because he needs you multiple positions on the court, and you can't close down the gap.
I also love using these splitter guards to hold my stuff. Alright, so I just put some clarified butter. Actually, it's ghee. I keep it aside. Alright, I'm going to have a couple of eggs. Today it's kind of starting late, so I'm only going to have 2. I always take everything to room temperature. So grab a bowl, grab a little cleaner, and a little warm water. Wash off the eggs. Let them soak in some warm water for a few minutes. I just put them in some warm water for a few minutes. Now these are down to 3. I'm also going to add some. I'm going to add some asparagus. Alright, anytime you get anything like this, clean it off. Alright?
Because of the rest
like that.
Injuries they've had, they've never developed continuity. And I do think that this is a team where the stop of the season really hurt them. And the reason why I say this, their starting core never really got a chance to gel and play, develop any kind of continuity.
Alright, so I put those back together. Wash these off.
Let's say the season didn't start. The end of March into April, that would have been their time.
And the tips you generally don't want to eat, so I just break them off.
The season got cut short. So what happens is you come back to the
Put those
bubble,
in the middle,
restart.
and then
This Clipper team was
now the
still
tips are going to be very soft, so you want to put those in last.
That's why we saw the fluctuation.
The rest of an asparagus is going to be a bit tougher, so you want to cook it longer, which is why I'm cooking it now at the beginning. Alright, I put those to the side to add in later. Not a lot of them, not a ton of them, just enough to add some flavor and texture. Alright, a little salt, pink Himalayan salt, and ground pepper. Has a good flavor, a little bite, and no calories. You always add it. Alright, one thing, if you've watched me make breakfast at any time, I'm an unbelievable fan of hollandaise sauce. Like everything else that's natural, it doesn't last forever, so you can't. I cook it, I use it in my cooking. It doesn't cook like butter. It'll brown up and it'll fry up, but as you can see, it kind of changes it. And then I'll use a little on the cooked stuff. Alright, so we got that. So now I'm going to add spinach and onions. Alright. Spinach.
Seeing how the Western Conference is playing out, especially with Golden State coming back healthy.
When you want to cut up spinach, spinach is kind of large. I'm going to cut that last. Alright. With mushrooms, I highly recommend you always keep them in the container. Take your time, open them up properly. They stay fresh. I don't know what it is about this plastic, but they stay fresh in it. Alright, so then we're going to slice them up. You can wash them. I don't really, I mean, you can see the little black stuff. Doesn't bother me. I'm cooking it. I cook it in butter. Alright, so also my table's clean, so I don't really care about stuff spilling off to the side. That's why you keep everything clean, because then you don't have to worry. Alright. Turn this around. Alright, and then probably a lot of mushrooms for 2 eggs. But you know what? It's going to be a lunch. Alright, so now, alright, we're going to add some spinach. Now, spinach I'm going to add last because it's so soft. So right now what I'm going to do is add some more. This is sausage, onions, mushrooms, pepperoni that I had made for pizza yesterday. And wow, the players were isolated in a total different area than this is a lot for 2 eggs. But here's the thing, you know, eating this way, because everything's going to be cooked in fat and there's always a lot of ghee, I can always have leftovers and just put them back in a bowl like this and eat them tomorrow. Or add this, because this is a bunch of vegetables. You know what? I might just add it to my pizza later. Make a slice or 2 of pizza later. And I'll have, good vegetables and some meats on my pizza. But I like the sausage. I'm a big fan of pepperoni too, so I don't mind that in my sausage, bacon, and eggs. Like I said, every day my meals change up a little, but they're based on the same thing: eggs and bacon, pizza, burgers. But it's not about eating meat all the time. And some people might go, oh my God, that's all you eat. No, I eat it with broccoli. I eat it with my vegetable medley. I eat it. I mean, watch my eggs. My eggs are going to have just as much vegetables and carbs as I do eggs. Alright? Now, if I want to, sometimes like, oh, that seems a little bland.
We at Fox don't have the NBA as a property, but I'll say this. I think aesthetically, they've done a great job. They've done, I don't even know if they've got a positive test in months. They've done a terrific job, and now they're allowing some people out of the bubble in, some family members. I wish they'd give coaches an opportunity to see their families as well. They haven't yet.
Okay.
On with the news.
And I'll sprinkle a little cheese in. I mean, I pick off a little. I'm not here to add a ton of cheese. I eat a fair amount of cheese during the day in my egg cheat anyway. So I try not to add a lot of cheese to everything, but cheese is good fat and it adds flavor. Okay? And it adds a texture, a different texture sometimes to stuff. So that's why like I just drop it in my vegetables for my eggs. I don't need a ton of it, but the oils and the flavor from the cheese, from this mozzarella cheese, okay, are going to add flavor. So,
I'm sure the Jets could all think of the same thing. That's our goal. That's our focus. Is we got to, try and compete and win the AFC.
Now I've got some.
They are the slight favorites on Fox Bet, but just barely ahead of the Patriots. You, however,
Cooked.
know, when we just went through your predictions, you have the Patriots finishing, I believe, in last place.
Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and add that. I'm going to add some spinach. And I'll show you how I do the spinach. Alright, let's properly wrap this up first. I know it's you watching me do this is not teasing, but it teach you that putting stuff away, it makes a much easier and cleaner kitchen. Okay, when it comes to putting in spinach, you want to put this in last because it's going to cook. Alright, I'm not eating big pieces of spinach like that. So what I do is I pinch it in my fingers and then just keep folding it as best you can. There's no right or wrong way, but as best you can. And then cut it very small. I mean, you're literally doing 7 millimeter slices if you can. Keep it scrunched together.
They have a new offensive coordinator this year. It's Chan Gailey. That was his head coach in Buffalo, so he actually already knows the offensive system, even though in theory it's new. So not surprising.
All right, so then we're going to add that.
Tua is also coming off a major injury. I know you actually like this for Tua because you want him to wait, and Fitzpatrick has said he understands his job is to get Tua ready. So he's not looking over his shoulder. He knows that eventually Tua is going to take his job, and he's fine teaching him. How happy are you for Tua, who's your favorite quarterback?
All right, so now you can see this is basically a salad. All right, at this point, I want more butter. A couple of reasons. One, it's good. Two, it gives it liquid so that when I store it later, I have it. And three, I'm going to make my eggs. So the way I do that is I'm going to take everything out of this pan and use the leftover butter that's in the pan to cook my eggs. So for there to be some, obviously I'm hydrating the mushrooms in here. So I don't, so it's soaking up some of my butter. I'm not going to eat it all. I'm not going to take it all. Grab yourself a nice Pyrex. Don't put plastic on the stove. It's not a good place. Plastic melts. I'm a doofus for doing it. Try not to even put it close. Really, it's not a good place. Okay, and then don't forget the spinach on the table. We put that.
He can hit free agency again in his early 30s. Another payday.
So.
I was a little interested to see if Deshaun would maybe be hesitant to sign a big deal. Not that he wouldn't want the money.
He's had injuries, though.
He's had it. I think that plays a factor because you could also argue the team
Right.
has kind of let him
So,
go, right? Bill O'Brien makes some really weird trades, and that's being nice about it. They trade away his number one weapon. They don't seem to value draft picks at all, which now they're going to need if they're going to pay the quarterback. I also, the other thought that you have Could the AFC be
I'm going to turn, it's still on 3, which is my normal temperature for cooking eggs. Alright, I don't like to sit and wait. Obviously, I'm making a video, so I don't want it to take forever, but I'm going to show you how I comfortably like to make eggs. Alright, first of all, I like there to be liquid. So I like me having that much liquid. Alright, do a final rinse on the eggs. And then I just break it open and then move it around. Okay, you need to make sure that it's not sticking to the pan.
The NFL is in such remarkable hands going forward. So many talented, good kids. Veteran newsman John Goulet.
Alright, temperature is a little too cold. There's nothing wrong with that. Rather cook cold than hot. Alright? Eggshells, put in your garden, recycle.
Says she was flying from Miami to Los Angeles. She called me yesterday all panicked, and I'm like, Flavor Day. Enjoying Miami. Go to the beach. One more day. We'll miss you. We'll see you. So Joe will be back in tomorrow. Coming up next, we play a game of More Likely. Staff's trying to trick me today. What's more likely to happen this NFL season?
Alright, so now I like my eggs over easy or over medium.
You may be up against some
So I like them semi-cooked on both sides. Flip. Shit, I just broke it. Didn't mean to do that, but it happens. Oh, Joelle. Alright. I like mine to be cooked. That's why I generally do cook them a little higher temperature. Alright, so
you post a job on ZipRecruiter. You sent out to over 100 of the internet's leading job sites and 4 out of 5 employers.
There's no way in hell I'm going to eat all that. So
Get a quality candidate
I'm going to put part of it back in. Now that's my vegetable bowl. Okay? And that's how every day I have a vegetable bowl, and it has different things in it based upon what I look and go, oh my god, that looks like it's getting old. Let me cook that. Oh, there's that. That'll taste good in this. And you keep moving it around. Alright, so then on top, take all the yummies, all the good fat. Alright. Then we're going to take some of this hollandaise sauce, and you can see as you put it on, it just starts to melt. I love making hollandaise sauce in advance and then having it to be able to put on my food. See that? And you look at it and you're like, oh, that's grease, but it's the juices of all the foods that you cooked, and they're all healthy and good quality. Alright, don't forget to cover this up and put it in the fridge. Okay, I don't like to throw stuff really hot into the fridge, even though in Pyrex it's not going to have a problem. I just set it on the counter and let it room temperature. One, it uses an enormous amount of energy to... Alright, the burner's hot, so I just put a pot with water in it on top of the burner. It will soak up the heat and not put the heat into my air-conditioned house. Alright, I'm not going to eat anymore, use any more ghee. So that's going in the fridge. This is going in the fridge. That'll go in the fridge after I finish eating. Like I said, I don't want to put something super hot into the fridge. And make sure that we put our eggs back in. How do I not have any place to put my eggs? Anyway, and try not to keep plastic. This is silicone, so I'm going to put that. Alright. And so there's your basic breakfast, eggs and bacon with asparagus, mushrooms, onions, bell peppers, and some spinach, salt and pepper. And it's going to taste absolutely wonderful, I'm sure.
Guys, check it out. Safe driver, save 40%. Safe driver, save 40%. Safe driver, save 40%.
Ma'am.
That's safe driver, save
And I'll be honest with you, today it's okay. It's not absolutely fabulous. It's okay. Okay? But it's still good enough that I'm going to eat it all. Okay? And like I said, I mean, this I only had 2 eggs. Like I said, it's later in the morning. I should have eaten a couple hours ago, but I was shopping and doing other stuff. So anyway, I mean, I'd say it's good. It's really good. I'm kind of spoiled. Like, I expect to be floored every time I eat something. That is really my expectations now. But it's really good. Anyway, I need to get some water. So thank you very much for watching me make my morning breakfast. You have a good